Peace be with you, everyone. Welcome to my channel. My name is Trevor. Really grateful to have you here. And in today's video, I'm just going to be going over my weekly rotation for the previous week, which was just about the first week of February. We began the week off on a cloudy Monday on the tail end of January. So it's been one of the cloudiest Januaries on record for a lot of the U.S. So I wanted to go with something to kind of match that atmosphere, just a little bit dark, but also fresh and mass appealing, because I was working a long shift that day, and I work with the public. I deliver for a restaurant, so I'm interacting with servers and customers a lot of the time. So reached for Dior Sauvage Elixir. Like I said, definitely mass appealing, probably my #1 most complimented fragrance in my collection. It has that nice fresh lavender that the Dior Sauvage line is known for, but then it's darkened up and sweetened a little bit with a licorice note. Really unique, really kind of mature spiciness going on. There's a little bit of cinnamon in here. Incredible fragrance. You know, I didn't quite like it at first when I smelled it up close, but as it wafts around in the air, it's just got this beautiful wedding of fresh and sweet and dark and light. It just covers all the right aspects of fragrances in a perfectly composed manner. Like I said, mass appealing, but also, you know, grown up. It doesn't have that young guy bubblegum sweetness thing going on. The only complaint I have with this bottle is that it's not the 100 ml size. It's only the 60 ml one. So definitely backup bottle worthy. I'll be getting the full size bottle eventually, although it'll probably take me a while to burn through this juice, because you don't really need a lot of sprays because it's got somewhat of nuclear projection. So that was Monday, cloudy, Dior Sauvage Elixir. So from Tuesday all the way up till today, so just about a full week, we've had incredible sunlight. You know, like I said, it was about one of the cloudiest months. January's on record for a lot of the U.S., but at least where I'm at, since Tuesday up until now, we've had this nice sunlight peeking in, and it's really been awesome. A nice breath of fresh air, kind of easing me into the springtime. Still very cold, you know, dipping in underneath the 20°F temperatures where I'm at, which has been also nice because it's been unseasonably warm most of this winter. So it's been, you know, a nice opportunity to wear the darker, sweeter, incensey, smoky, boozy fragrances that shine best in this atmosphere and in these temperature conditions. But that being said, I went with something completely unlike those note descriptions for Tuesday. Did a full review on this one, so I won't spend too much time commenting on it here. You can check the video out on my channel. But Tuesday was Aqua de Colonia Intense Wakening Woods of Scandinavia. Smells like the name is what the name is, Wakening Woods of Scandinavia. It just smells like a really fresh pine forest in the middle of winter. You know, there's rose, bergamot, coriander, balsam fir, a little bit of a terre d'hermès DNA, but one of my favorites for springtime, but also one that I like to reach for on sunny winter days. There's a pink pepper in here that kind of makes it a nice, bright, happy fragrance, and then the fir accents the winter. Crisp air very well. One of the few fragrances I like to stock in the refrigerator to increase its level of briskness. So that was Tuesday, Wakening Woods of Scandinavia. Wednesday was my late shift. I go into work in the afternoon, so I wasn't really wearing anything during the dayside period of the day. I was kind of hanging out around the house, doing some, you know, stuff with the channel, editing. But I got this package in, and I decided to put it on and wear it for the evening. So it was my first test drive with this one. This is L'Odyssée pour Homme or Encens. So I got this because I was looking to get some rose fragrances and test them out for February. This, however, is a little bit more of a autumn time fragrance. I don't think it quite has the density or projection to really cut through the winter cold, but it is a beautiful, beautiful offering for something like October, Halloween, November, that sort of spooky season. It definitely has a little bit of darkness, a very sweet, jammy rose that doesn't dominate the scent. It's very well composed, well blended. I believe Christophe Renaud is the perfumer behind this one, same guy that did Missoni Wave and Paco Rabanne 1 Million Privé. Yeah, just very well blended, nice, and I could see it being unisex, but I think it leans a little bit more masculine because the smoky, woody components in here, despite it being a rose fragrance. Definitely different than something like Toy Boy, which is another rose fragrance, but this one's, even though it's also dark, it's not quite as bitter and herbal of a rose. It's a little bit more sweet and jammy. Like I said, I only got one wearing out of this on Wednesday, but really enjoy the quality inside this juice, and looking forward to wearing this more in the autumn time. Okay, so Thursday, February is kind of the month that I like to break out the more sweet gourmandy type fragrances. You know, smoky, resinous, boozy fragrances in January, more festive cinnamon spice, sort of vanilla fragrances in December. But February, I like to reach for gourmands, dark chocolate, vanilla, rose, cherry, those types of notes. Kind of goes with that Valentine's theme. So Thursday I went with Salvatore Ferragamo Uomo, the original, not the signature or any of the other flankers. So this is known for being the tiramisu fragrance. I generally don't like overtly sweet fragrances that are in the gourmand category unless they have something like woodiness or smoke to kind of round them out and make them a little bit less youthful. This one just barely is, you know, wearable enough for me. It is definitely very sweet, but I love coffee and the tiramisu vibe that this gives off, and I love the signature flanker to this one as well. Alberto Morias is the perfumer behind it, and I'm just going to get a spray of this one in the air just to remind myself of how delectable it is. And that's what the word gourmand means. If you don't know, it's just something that smells edible. And this definitely has my mouth salivating a little bit. So Thursday was Salvatore Ferragamo Uomo. Friday, it seems to be my go-to Friday fragrance recently. It's a newer addition to my collection. I used to only own the Parfum version, but after I heard that this was getting removed from the US shelves, I decided to pick up a bottle of Dior Homme Intense. Like I said, so Friday was Dior Homme Intense. Seems to be my go-to Friday fragrance lately. One of my favorite scent profiles, Dior Homme Parfum, is my favorite fragrance of all time. This one scratches that itch, but is definitely a, you know, not quite as dense and thick and chocolatey and woody and leathery as the Parfum, but still incredible fragrance, iris, leather. It still has a lot of those same nuances. They're just not as pronounced, so it's a little bit more wearable in that sense. Yeah, just I only have to put on a few sprays of this one, and the sillage is moving around me in a nice scent bubble all day long. And I enjoyed this to no end on Friday. Probably the most enjoyable wear I had out of this week's rotation. That was Dior Homme Intense. Okay, so Saturday, just kind of one of my lazy days. I didn't have to go into work. I had the day off. I was here around the house with my daughter. We did do a little laundry, went and saw my parents at their house, and decided to put this one on. It's a really nice dark coffee fragrance. It's a little bit of a hidden gem, a little bit of an acquired taste. I feel like you have to have more of a mature nose to appreciate the complexity in this one, and a little bit more of a mature nose in the sense that you're not after that bubblegum sweetness that youthful noses tend to incline towards. So it's definitely more of a manly fragrance, a little bit more grown-up fragrance, a little bit more complex fragrance. And it's a cheapy hidden gem, and that is Ted Lapidus Black Soul Imperial. Now I did do a first impressions video of this one, didn't really care for it all that much. I think this was my least favorite in the unboxing that day. But it's since grown on me quite a bit. It's something that is definitely a guilty pleasure of mine. There's a very herbal mint in here that kind of put me off on the first impressions, but I don't really get that as much now that I have been wearing it. It's really a lot more of a dark roasted coffee over the top of somewhat of a 1 million DNA. So it kind of has that 1 million sweetness, but that's subdued by a very bitter black coffee that is the dominant player in this one. Which I didn't really get the coffee on my first impressions. It was really more mint heavy, so you know, it's definitely taken my nose a little bit of time to get used to this one, but it's become one of my favorites to just kind of wear for myself, you know, when I'm not out and about and just kind of doing work around the house, drinking my own coffee, which I do drink coffee black, so this is a perfect complement to those types of days for me at the house. And then finally Sunday was pretty exciting. You know, if you watched I had a first impressions video I posted yesterday, so I had one of these fragrances that I wore on the back end of that day. But I started the day off with this fragrance right here, Hommage à l'Homme, from the House of Lalique. One of my personal signature scents. It's a nice velvety violet over the top of some woody musk, and then some saffron in here. So it's kind of like a brighter, fresher, violet flanker of Versace's Oud Noir. Not quite exactly, but it has a lot of the same sort of nuances that fragrance has, but it's like I said, it's got musk in here, and then the violet makes it a lot more fresh, a lot more of a springtime offering. But that wood, oud, saffron kind of vibe is a little bit reminiscent of oud wood and Oud Noir, just to kind of get your reference points for this fragrance if you've never tried it. One of my top 10 favorite fragrances of all time, and I think recently discontinued, so check this one out if you haven't already. And then, like I said, I did have 2 fragrances on Sunday, so after I took a shower, after wearing this one, and I did reach for this one because the temperatures reached up into like the 50-degree Fahrenheit range, so it was definitely very spring feeling, which you know, this is a spring fragrance for sure. The snow was melting, there was drips coming down off of the rooftops, just kind of creating puddles underneath everywhere, and it felt very much like spring has been trying to break through the cold, and that's why I reached for this one during the day side. But I did a unboxing and first impressions and decided to finish the day off with this beauty right here. This is Rive Gauche Pour Homme from YSL. Classic barbershop fragrance. My one wearing that I've had with it so far, which was yesterday, was incredible. It's like a kind of a little bit of a sweetened up shaving cream, but then also combined with this incredibly brisk aromatic greenery. It feels very much like an outdoorsy fragrance, so it's got a very masculine appeal in that sense because it feels outdoorsy, and then it keeps that very clean barbershop shaving cream vibe going on. And it's crazy the way that it was kind of oscillating between that green fern aromatic outdoorsy scent and then coming back into this very creamy shavy cream barbershop vibe. Beautiful juice color too, if you can see that. It's like a very nice sort of lime green. I think it accents the bottle very well. I decided to go ahead and try and pick up one of these bottles in the La Collection line if you're familiar with Rive Gauche, just because I think the cylindrical tin can is a little bit tacky. Even though I hear that the scent profile of that one's a little bit better. I was happy to get my hands on this, and now that I have, I'm falling slowly in love with it. Definitely gonna have to get some more wears of this during the springtime, but as the weather's starting to warm up, I am going to be reaching for this one rather eagerly. So that was my week in fragrance. Appreciate you sticking with me to the end of this video. Let me know what your scent of the day and what your weekly rotation was in the comments down below, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care.